So everyone seems to have decided COVID isn't a thing in your world anymore. Kinda still seems like it is, though. I guess that's how it usually is with plagues. People get used to them. I just hope more people don't end up suffering or dead than really needed to. Whatever that means.
It does seem to have dropped off the face of the earth, which is surprising because I figured it would just be kind of like the flu, it would just come back annually or whatever, but it doesn't seem to have done that. Like, I don't know. It's certainly a lot less prevalent.
Let's see. You want some spoilers for the third season of Club Meetings?
We're already in it?
Here's one. Natsuki hatches another one of her crazy schemes. I'm not going to tell you what exactly, but it will probably work out about as well as the other ones have. Huh. What just happened? Feels like I blacked out for a second. I don't remember anything we were talking about at all. Maybe some time memory paradox thing or another. Who knows?
That was weird. But
Kenzo seems to have a reputation as not the smartest kid, which is unfair. He's actually plenty smart, about the average of students at his school, and students at this school tend to be pretty sharp. He just hates literary criticism, so he doesn't like to do his schoolwork for advanced language classes. Other than that, he's an exemplary student. He's certainly not going to be the valedictorian, but he does well for himself.
I can't remember what kind of connection there is between, like, being literate and being smart, but, like, there are different kinds of smarts. There's, like, intelligence, and then there's knowledge, and then there's smarts.
I'm not really a huge sports fan, but if I had to pick, my favorite sport is football, with baseball as a close second. Or I suppose perhaps soccer to you instead of football. It's a lot of fun to watch, although I don't go out of my way to watch it or anything. But if it's on, I don't complain.
I was never really a big sports fan. Don't have any opinions on soccer or football.
Oh, I found another note Monica left in here. It's written in her handwriting in all caps. Here, take a look. What's better than tuna? Frina!
Jesus Christ, Monica.
Honestly.
How many more topics can there be?
You know, it strikes me as rather rude, just making you wait here forever, listening to me talk endlessly. The polite thing to do would be to offer you a chance to leave. I suppose you could have done that via the menu at any time. But still, here you go, courtesy of me. Your chance to leave.
Nah, we staying. We're not done.
How kind of you to choose to spend some more time with me. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of a stress-free being in here.
I'm just glad we figured out this hack to skip the gaps, because my goodness, I was not going to be able to fill all that dead air.
Want to see my yukata? It's pretty cool. Give me just a second to change. No peeking now. I know we're fairly intimate given that we're in this room together, but still a lady needs her privacy. I guess you can't really peek anyway, even if you wanted to. Anyway, all done. There, what do you think? Please don't stare too much. I'm a little shy when I'm being stared at. I'm glad you like it.
Pardon me.
I'm glad you like it, though. Still, maybe a little unprofessional. I'm going to go change back now. And there we are. Well, that was fun.
I guess it's easier to get out of than into. But, yeah. Well, no one will run out because it'll just keep skipping and skipping.
A lot of talk these days about UFOs and aliens. I guess it's always been possible that there's some truth to them. But until I see some pretty uncontrovertible proof, my default position is skepticism. As a scientist, you can't be close-mindedly skeptical all the time, but UFOs are an area where there's a lot of fakery and lies, which makes it hard to discern the truth, and where being too open-minded can waste a lot of time. So I try to find a happy medium. Maybe someday there'll be concrete proof.
In my experience, they only trot out alien rumors when the government's trying to distract you from something else. And I wish I didn't have to be a conspiracy theory about that, but, you know. I'm turning that on, so if we ever get back to that choice, we can click the thing, and it'll keep skipping.
I'll never understand the adolescent obsession with toilet humor.
Me neither.
It gets so old so quickly. I don't remember liking it when I was that age. And yet here I am, bearing the terrible and endurable brunt of it as an adult. Nothing makes me feel older than having to rant about a topic like this. But I feel like exhaustion with it deep in my soul. Ah, well.
No, you know, I'm right there with you. Back when I was in high school, the pinnacle of humor was to utter the word penis.
Season 4 spoilers. How would I know those when they haven't happened yet? Wait, okay, yes. Just some light ones, maybe a hint. It's always an interesting time when two people cohabitate for the first time, isn't it? Especially very different people. Damn, that was weird. I think I lost track of some more time. I don't remember anything we were talking about at all. Maybe some time memory paradox thing or other. Who knows?
Spoilers, Natsuki and Yuri will have friction living together. Oh boy, I wonder if it will last more than 2 episodes.
Yuri getting into lockpicking is an interesting choice. It's sort of a grey area in that it can be used for some unethical, illegal things. Although I doubt very much that Yuri would do anything like that. It is very uncharacteristic of her. Just a strange, obscure hobby that she decides to get good at one day. I would expect nothing less from her. Plus, she apparently just uses it in a helpful way, so I can't say I object.
I don't know that I would describe that as in character for her, but it's like a character adjacent for her, I would say.
A little while ago, I was trying some dates with this guy who was way into history. Military history. And it's like, cool, I get it. I too have a weird niche interest that I know way too much about. But I don't talk all about it on the first date. Some of the stuff was interesting and some less so. And some of it I could really get into, just because he was so enthusiastic. But he just could not be turned into any other direction conversationally. It was pretty frustrating. You've got to let the other person drive the conversation sometimes, you know.
I feel that way about a lot of things, except I'm the one, or not the one driving. I'm the one with the esoteric interests that I can go on and on about, but nobody else cares.
As scientifically minded as I am, I can't quite get into computer coding like Monica and Yuri. I just don't have the abstract knowledge or logic mind for it. I'm very much more a spatial thinker. I need stuff to think about, which is why I'm so well suited for chemistry, perhaps.
I don't have any comment on that one.
I've lived pretty far away from the city the school's in, actually. Not so far that the weather is noticeably different or anything, but far enough that I take the train to the city. I actually don't like city living, so it's just as well. I live out in the country. It's very quiet, very peaceful. Other than the somewhat annoying commute, it's a really ideal situation.
I feel like suburbs are the best of both worlds. You're like, you get that, you get a little bit of civilization, but not too much civilization. You don't get the crazies that are drawn to the cities.
Have I told you about Junko Hirayama's cat?
Is it Junko or Junko? I don't care.
I watch that cat for her sometimes when she's away. She is a tuxedo cat, and he has so much personality. He's so friendly, really an aggressive charmer type. Always nestling your leg and asking for pets. I can see why Junko loves him so much.
Could be either way. I don't know enough Japanese to know how to pronounce that. Whoop, I skipped the line.
Natsuki and Yuri. Everyone always wondered about that, but I never actually saw them doing stuff I'd expect a couple to do. At first, and Natsuki said she was straight. That's basically all I knew about the topic. Until we all found out, of course. I try not to talk about it too much with other students around. I'm no gossip.
Well, you know how I feel about it. I've gone over it like twice at this point. I don't like it.
I maybe have been relying a little bit on microwave food recently. It's just so convenient. Often you don't even need to use dishes. It saves so much time. Pity that it's also incredibly unhealthy. My former students at the literature club eat more wholesomely. Yuri especially. Perhaps I ought to learn a lesson from that.
But it's hard. And I understand it, like, with single life, too, because, like, when you live alone, yeah, you're gonna eat everything you make, and, like, maybe you don't feel like making such an elaborate meal just for yourself.
MC ends up getting a job. Why? Well, you'll just have to find out. Maybe I was so aggressive in pressing the club about the whole simulation thing. But still, what if one of them was being abused? Or worse? I had no way to know. I felt like I had to figure it out. I know when kids are covering up something really bad. And they were covering up something really bad. Fortunately or unfortunately, it was nothing mundane like I feared. It was a bad thing of an entirely different character. I'm so proud of them, though. They've handled it with such maturity.
So I guess there are multiple Season 4 spoilers you can extract from the mod.
Natsuki's sister is wonderful. You'd never know she'd ever overcome any of the horrible trials she has. She's so resilient that she just seems like she's led a very normal life. And she's always joyously living life to the fullest. It makes you think. Maybe she's that way because of all the adversity. Or maybe that's just her nature. Either way, I'm a little envious of her.
Well, you know, come to think of it, maybe that was a Season 3 spoiler. Maybe both of those things have multiple outcomes.
You know what got me into chemistry?
Because, I mean, you know, we saw MC get a job in this season.
When I was young, someone taught me the atomic theory of matter. The way all matter is really constructed and all that. I thought it was amazing, like I had unlocked some deep secret of the universe. I guess I had. My love for that idea has never really died down. Stress. You ever have one of those days where it seems like everything that happens during your day is designed to stress you out and make things difficult? It happens to me a lot more often than I'd like. You really do have to be mentally resilient in my job sometimes. And try as best as you can not to let your stress follow you around everywhere. It's really quite hard, though.
I believe it. I wouldn't want to work with that many teenagers.
There's a metal whose melting point is just over normal room temperature, which means that it's solid as any other metal block if you just put it on a table. But if you pick it up in your hands, it'll start to melt, just from your body heat. And then after it dribbles to the floor, it'll solidify again as little metal chunks. The metal is called gallium, so you can get a good bit of it for not that much money. I have a bunch in the school lab, although it's a bit of a pain to clean up after the students are done with it. But it's such a fun substance.
I think if you plan for it in advance, maybe you can keep it from becoming such a mess.
I feel a strange tension recently, like a pressure. Like I need to constantly perform at my best or I'll lose everything. But I know I'm not performing at my best, because I'm lazy or too tired or who knows what. I feel really unsettled about it as a result.
Can't help you with that one. Don't have any idea what might be wrong.
Sometimes recently I felt troubled. Like I've been doing a bad job and I'm not good for very much. Like sure, I hold down a job and manage not to get fired. But I feel sometimes like I'm just going through the motions. And that anyone could do what I do. I try to remember that that's probably just imposter syndrome. Still though, I feel uneasy a lot.
That's understandable. The simple fact is, basically anyone could do what you can do, but they won't do it the same way you do it. And that's how you make yourself unique.
If you're ever feeling bored, here's a fun read. Google dioxygen difluoride and read the article on science.org that comes up. It's quite a ride. Certainly not a compound I'd ever work with. The little pure sodium explosions I do for my classes are already quite exciting enough.
I guess it's something that explodes.
I thought about getting my doctorate in chemistry long ago. Decided against it, though. There are just a lot of things that make that inconvenient. Not the least of which is that there aren't that many good jobs for chemistry PhDs. At least there aren't a lot that don't involve being evil in some way. So my master's degree in teaching high school is more than good enough for me. I really feel like I do some good in the world this way.
Your fake world where nothing matters. Loading.
Deleting my character file won't do anything, by the way, because I don't have one. Monica's hosting the whole simulation through her worlds.bat system. I'm not really sure how it works. Only Monica and maybe Yuri really understand it. But I do know that the character files are just copies. And if you delete them locally, the game just insta-reads one from the world.bat system. So it's kind of immortality.
Well, that's nice. Nobody can die. At least not by that method anymore. It seems you already told me this story. You skip it.
Rie Takasashi is a very nice girl, and she's one of the students I advise. She gets very good grades, very polite, but she's awfully shy. I would try to advise her more on being more outgoing, but that's not really what I'm supposed to do. Just academics, that's what we're supposed to talk about in those meetings. But the urge to give her tips on making friends is really strong. Resisted it so far, though. It seems like the club taught her really well anyway. It'll be interesting to see how she runs the literature club.
Maybe there's like a counselor so you could refer her to.
When you're a teacher, you get used to everyone calling you by your last name, which is very strange, honestly. I prefer my first name. What about you? Would you want to call me by my first name?
It just feels right to call you Miss Ida, actually.
Fair enough. Once you're used to it, that name is hard to kick. I will remain Miss Ida to you then.
Would it actually have like changed your name to the other thing if I'd said yes? Well, maybe we'll find out if we get that option again.
Still, he does have quite a sweet tooth, and all the club members can eat a pretty good amount of sugar from time to time. But I'm embarrassed to admit that I'm basically just as bad even now in my 30s. I don't know, I just really like sweets. They're tasty. And they're not just a taste thing either. A lot of the time my body will just crave sugar. It happens all the time. I have to work out a lot to keep the weight off.
From what I understand, sugar is actually really terrible for you, and if you quit it cold turkey, you'll crave it for like a week, but after that, you'll feel amazing. I have not tested this because I enjoy sugar as well.
You know, I'm not sure where that skeleton in my classroom came from. It was just there when I started using it. I considered throwing it out, but it seemed a waste and a little disrespectful given that it was a real human skeleton.
Why would they do that?
The label says Sayashi, but I don't know what that refers to. The name of a company, although I haven't found one with that name. Potentially even the name of the person whose skeleton it was. That's what all the students assume anyway. Everyone calls the skeletons Siashi. And I think that's fun. Siashi is a piece of decor with a lot of personality at this point. Definitely can't get rid of them now.
I can't imagine how the school would ever, like, make that possible to get, like, an actual, honest to goodness, biological human skeleton in their science lab.
You took things a little overboard with club presidency, huh? Not too badly, I guess.
Yeah, that's why it wasn't very interesting.
But still enough that everyone got a little worried. I suppose it's to be expected. Everyone's a little on edge about misuse of that power. Poor Monica, it seems like things always happen that make it hard for her to live that down.
Yeah, man, it's not like the season didn't have ideas for their plots, it's just they didn't really go anywhere. The conflicts were so trivial that they were just over in no time. Is basically how it ended up.
That gesture I'm seated for Sihori with the theme park was so romantic. I don't care what anyone says, if a guy did that for me, I'd be completely swept off my feet. I'm disappointed that guys these days can't manage the romantic sentiment of an 18-year-old boy.
Maybe they're just not creative.
My dates really need to up their game.
All the guys are good at that kind of thing.
You know, if I were able, I'd really like to have a pet. Right now, all I ever do is take care of your Junko's cat, but I'd love to have a small pet of my own. It's just hard. I spend so much of the day away from home, and my commute takes a while, so any pet would be alone a lot of the time, and that doesn't feel fair. But maybe someday.
Well, get like some rodents, and get a couple of them so you can keep each other company. There you go. That's all you gotta do.